Yeah, admit it. Even though you're separated from Logan, the thought of him being in love with another woman really rankles you. Admit it!
Out!
No!
Because April's still in love with her dead husband. I mean, that's a hard enough torch to bear for a pretty young widow.
Well, she may not be a widow, you know? Draper Scott may still be alive.
What did you say?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
You said that Draper Scott might still be alive.
No. No, I said that his memory may still be alive.
That's not what you meant, Cliff. Come on. You know something I don't know.
Hey, me? Come on. You know something you don't know? The CIA calls you up and asks you what's going on.
Then why did you just tell me that Draper might still be alive? They found his body in a train wreck. He was dead. They buried him. There was a funeral. I even cried.
Oh, you cried for the wrong body. Hey, look, forget I ever said that, all right? Forget I ever said anything. Look, if you tell anybody I said this, you'll be crying at my funeral.
You haven't even told me anything, so talk. Come on, why did we all cry for the wrong stiff?
Because it was the wrong stiff in the casket. That wasn't Draper Scott. I don't know, something strange happened up there at Grand Falls. Sergeant Dwyer, the guy who's supposed to take Draper to the pen, he was handcuffed to the wrong man.
How do you know this?
Because they did an autopsy. They dug up the body to take a second look, and it wasn't Draper. It was somebody else.
Then what happened to Draper's body?
And nobody knows. So don't get so excited about it, because he probably drowned with all those other people. And maybe, just maybe he is still alive.
I don't believe this. And Logan knew. Logan knew the whole time. Oh. My poor husband. He fell for a widow, and she isn't.
I'd really love to go out with you two tonight. I just can't.
Well, why not? Now that you've got a live-in babysitter, there shouldn't be any problem. Molly Sherwood's there tonight, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, she's here. Truth is, I'm having company. Emily Michaels is coming over this evening. So, where are you two planning to go tonight, anyway?
The Unicorn.
Oh, you're kidding.
Nope. Yep. It's going to be the Unicorn, okay. We're going to go over there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Miles out on the floor to disco or not, but we thought it'd be kind of interesting to see what Elliot has done with the place, you know?
Well, I have to admit, I am rather tempted to go with you. I'm real curious to see what that place looks like these days. Well, like I said, I can't do it. I just hope the darn place is a flop. That's what I hope. I mean, I know that sounds... I don't want him to make a penny of profit. That sounds charitable.
No. It proves you're human.
Listen, let me talk to her, will you?
Miles wants to talk to you just a sec.
Hi, kid. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, Doc. You all ready to go out and boogie?
Yeah, I don't know how I let Nicole talk me into this.
Oh, I wish I could go with you, but I was telling Nicole I'm having company. Oh, Emily Michaels is coming over tonight. Can I tell her about the interview tomorrow?
Sure, save me the trouble. Tell her to come between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. I'll manage to see her.
Will do. And believe me, you're going to like her. And I'm sure she'll be terrific with the patients. And what I know of her experience with her father, I'm sure she knows how to keep records and files and fill out insurance forms and do any of that.
Well, we'll see. You just give her my address. Tell her I'll be expecting her.
I will. And listen, you two have a real good time tonight.
Okay, so long.
Bye-bye.
You know, to be honest about it, I'm sort of happy April isn't going to go with us tonight.
Well, we had to ask her. I know what you mean. The thought of having to face her knowing what we know about this autopsy.
Sometimes I think we made the wrong decision. Sometimes I think we really ought to tell her the whole truth. Certainly would make things easier, wouldn't it?
For us, maybe, but I don't think for her.
No, you're right. Wouldn't do a bit of good. Her agonizing over the fact that the wrong man is buried in Draper's grave, and that Draper's real grave's in the bottom of some river, perhaps. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, the thing that would really not do her any good is the thought that Draper might still be alive. You know, we are being very silly. The whole purpose of going out tonight is to get our minds off of this subject, you know?
Mrs. Scott?
Yeah, Molly.
Well, I couldn't help hearing your phone conversation before about Emily coming over tonight after supper.
Oh, yeah, she should be over here in, I guess, about a half an hour or so.
Did I also hear you say something about a job with your brother?
Yeah, I arranged an interview for them. Just hope they get along.
But Mrs. Scott, now, I know that this is none of my business, but do you think you're really doing the right thing?
Well, yes, I did. Don't you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure. You see, I have known Emily and Father a long time, and I don't know if you know that Dr. Galt really didn't have a regular medical practice. I mean, by that I mean he was an old-fashioned country doctor. His office was in his home.
Molly.
And people came from a long
Molly,
way to see him.
Listen,
Yes.
I don't know if this is any of your concern, but my father was a country doctor, too.
Oh, well, no, that's not the point, you see. In Evansville, it's a very small farming community, and, well, I don't know if you know that more and more people are moving into town to look for work, and what it really means is that Dr. Galt didn't have all that many patients, so you see, I think your brother will find that Emily's experience is just a little exaggerated.
Well, I think we should both leave that up to my brother to decide. Excuse me.
See, Cliff, the thing is, I bet Logan knew about this the whole time. He just didn't want his darling little April to know that her husband might still be walking around.
Raven, you've got to believe me. You cannot tell anyone that I told you this. Mike Carr would never trust me with anything again in
Will
his
you
life.
stop worrying? I'm not going to tell anyone you told me. I'll just say it was a rumor. And besides, I don't see why it has to be some big secret anyway.
Well, because of Mrs. Draper Scott. How do you think she would feel about all this?
Wonderful. She'd think her husband was still alive.
There isn't a chance in 1,000 her husband's still alive.
Well, that's better than no chance at all.
No, it isn't. Do you want her to spend the rest of her life looking out a window, waiting?
That's a pretty picture.
I thought you said you were good friends with April.
I am good friends with April. Obviously, a lot better friends than Logan Swift is. Don't you see? He kept this information from her, right? Why? Because he wanted to keep her interested in him. Why did he want to keep her interested in him?
Because he's in love with her.
Who asked you? I'll tell you why. Because he needs her. That's why. He needs her for this custody trial. And you see, I just wonder. I wonder what April would say if she knew what Logan kept from her. Huh. Probably the most important information of her life.
Oh, no, wait a minute now. You're not going to tell April, are you? I mean, you can't tell April.
You're really going to go through with it, huh? You're going to give up the sun and the sand and the tan and all those stuffed bikinis laying on the beach?
Never know. Could get lucky up there. Little beginner's luck. Solve the mystery on my first day, and then I'd have the rest of my time free.
I wouldn't count on that if I were you. I
Me
don't
neither.
think the authorities are going to give you too much cooperation.
I know. You don't think they'll like the suggestion that somebody on their rescue party tampered with the bodies?
Why would somebody tamper with those bodies? What could they possibly gain?
Well, somebody did it, that's for sure. Those cuffs were unlocked, then they were relocked, with the wrong person at the other end and by the wrong hand.
You know what? What does it really matter? The dead are dead. It's not going to make any difference in the world whether Draper Scott's buried in the earth or in the water.
Well, it makes a difference if he's not buried at all. He could still be alive.
You don't believe that any more than I do. But I guess you have to know. I asked Calvin Stoner and Deborah Saxon to come up here.
They know the whole story?
They know it all. They found out about the autopsy themselves. I told them about the results. Must be them now. Sure. Yes, Ellen. Please send them right in. I figure they've got a right to know what's going on. This has been their case from the very beginning.
I suppose it's possible. Hi, Chief. Hey, Logan.
Hi, guys. Come on in. You know what this is all about. I thought Logan could benefit from our expertise before he goes up to Grand Falls.
Well, I don't know how much this is going to help you, Logan, but the deputy sheriff up there is an old academy classmate of mine. His name's Clinker, but don't hold that against him. He's a good man and might be of some help.
Clinker?
Yeah.
Well, I certainly won't forget that.
Well, I don't have any friends up at Grand Falls, but I do have a theory that you can use if you like.
What's that?
Well, I think it's logical to think that Sam Dwyer himself unhooked those handcuffs because he was trapped in the wreck and he didn't want Draper to die with him.
Yeah, maybe, but it seems the only person that could stand to benefit from another body being re-handcuffed back to Dwyer would be Scott himself.
You mean to try to make good his escape?
Yeah, but Logan won't buy that.
Well, neither do I. I don't think Draper would be the kind of person to do such a thing.
Well, go ahead. Finish about
Well,
the
I
theory.
think Dwyer did it himself.
Dwyer?
Yeah.
What for?
Well, Sergeant Dwyer never believed that Draper was guilty. Didn't you know that?
Well, no, I didn't. Is that true?
Yeah, Dwyer was none too pleased about this case. He thought it was all much too pat. Obviously, he was right.
Isn't it ironic that he was the one chosen to take Draper to prison? I guess it was pretty lucky.
Luck, I don't know if I'd call it that.
Well, anyway, the point is, I think Dwyer did it because he realized that the body was going to be unrecognizable. Maybe he wanted it that way. Maybe he wanted Draper to go free.
Maybe. Awful lot of maybes. We're not going to find out from Dwyer himself, that's for certain. Maybe I'll get lucky. Find out from somebody else.
Yeah, maybe we will.
We? What do you mean we?
Oh, the chief didn't tell you? I've got a week's vacation coming, and I'm going to take it tomorrow. I thought I'd come up to Grand Falls with you and give you a hand. That is, if you want one.
So you're not going to come at all, is that it?
Elliot, I can't help it. I told you I had a babysitter, but the plans changed. I mean, don't you think I want to come over there? I don't want to stay here with a stupid kid.
Well, get used to it, darling. You're going to be sitting at home with that baby for many more years to come. You really should get yourself a permanent babysitter, you know.
Oh, sure. How? I don't have any money. My allowance has been shrinking every day due to inflation. And besides, you know how much money I pay for this apartment. And with my clothes bill, it eats up every single penny that Mother sends me.
I got my own money problems, Raven. Don't talk to me about yours. Besides, yours are all going to be solved when Mommy goes to her eternal reward, right?
Elliot, you sound like you're mad at me. You know how I hate it when you're mad at me.
I know, because you think I'm going to put that infamous letter of yours in the mail and then address it to Logan Swift, Esquire, right?
That's not funny.
Right. Look, I'll be around about midnight. Or maybe sooner if the crowd stays as thin as it is right now.
Elliot, look, don't come tonight, okay? I'm a mess.
I'll turn out the light. I won't notice.
No, please, please, don't come tonight.
I'm going to be there at midnight.
Elliot, Jamie is very cranky. And when he gets in a bad mood, you know how upset it makes you.
All right. All right. Look, I think I'd better call you back when you're both in a better mood.
Okay. Good night.
Don't you have anything to eat around here? The only thing I could find was potato chips and baby food.
Cliff, is that what you came over here for? To eat?
That's not what I came over here for. I didn't come over here to discuss business, especially legal business. You know what? Now I'm not going to have any legal business now that Mike Carr finds out what a big mouth I have.
I told you I'm not going to tell Mike Carr who told me. I'll tell him somebody else told me.
Who?
I know other people.
There's only one other person who knows anything about this, and Logan would not talk in 1,000 years.
No, he wouldn't talk, would he? Because it would ruin the little game that he's playing with his prime witness.
Wait a minute. This is no game. Look, I know Logan, and I know when he's in love with a woman. And believe me, he's in love with April.
Not true. I am the only woman that Logan Swift is in love with. And he may pretend he's in love with other women just to spite me or to prove to me that he doesn't love me. But never will he stop caring for me. Do you understand? Never.
Okay, take it easy.
Well, what an occasion. I was hoping to see the two of you here one of these nights.
Hi, Elliot.
We just decided that we would come on over and see what you've done with the place.
Certainly livelier than the old unicorn.
Well, unfortunately, not as lively as it could be. Maybe it'll fill up with people later on. I hope so, anyway. So, Doctor, I didn't know you were interested in the disco scene.
Well, I didn't know whether I was or not either. We'll find out. I think we'd like to start off by watching, though.
Well, in that case, I'll put you at the spectator gallery. Why don't you follow me? How's this? All right?
Oh, fine.
There we are. You look lovely tonight.
Thank you.
I'll send a waitress over as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Ah. Well, here we are. Isn't much different from the old unicorn, isn't it? Just still lights, music.
Crowd's a little bit younger, but there is of it.
Hey, you're not sorry that we came, are you?
No, of course not. I'd be happy to go anywhere that you were, even a discotheque.
Good Lord.
What's the matter?
Well, I don't know. It might be the lights in here, but Mouse, look at that waitress.
What about her?
She's the one. That, I'm sure of it, is the girl that was been following me around. That's been haunting me.
Everything seems to be moving so fast now. It's just weeks ago that I was a country doctor's daughter living miles away from the big city.
Well, with any luck, one thing won't have changed. You will still be working for a doctor.
Really would be wonderful, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high. I'm kind of nervous about this interview tomorrow.
Oh, don't be silly. Miles is just a kind and very gentle man.
Must run in the family, then.
Thank you. I'll tell you, I have very good feelings about this interview tomorrow. Very good feelings. Miles is going to offer you the job. I see no reason why he wouldn't.
It really would be perfect if Kirk and I were both working at jobs that we really liked. At least I hope he likes his job. He's awfully grateful to have it. You know, there are not that many out there.
Yeah. How's he feeling?
Oh, he's getting along just fine, thank you. With a few setbacks.
You know, Emily, you've never really told me anything about his illness.
Well, it's not really an illness. It's, well, it's more like an injury. He had a head injury. It happened a little while ago.
And the injury affected his memory?
Yes. There are just certain things that he can't remember. And certain things that really upset him. As a matter of fact, here's one of them.
What?
The carousel. For some reason, it really upset him. I don't know why. I told you I had my old piano sent from Evansville to Oakdale. Well, last night I was just sitting there picking out a tune, and I started playing this carousel melody. Well, Kirk heard it, and it really affected him.
Affected him how?
Well, it's hard to explain. I guess it must have triggered an old memory of the past. Maybe it was the idea of a carousel itself.
But why the carousel?
I don't know, but... Well, back in Evansville, in the room where Kirk was staying when he was recovering from his accident, there was an old lamp there with a carousel base, and it affected him the same way.
Well, I guess all that means is that there was a carousel in his memory just like there was a carousel in mine.
Oh?
Oh, Julia's finally asleep. Emily.
Hi, Molly. How are you?
Oh, I'm perfect. Oh, on my way to the kitchen, can I get you to anything?
I do believe there's a fresh pot of tea on the stove.
Wonderful.
Well, I'll just bring it in.
Now, what were you saying about the carousel?
Oh, nothing. Just a It's just a silly memory that means something to you because you're in love, you know.
I understand.
Draper and I hadn't known each other too long when he asked me out. We drove into the country on a picnic. We filled up a basket full of food. Cheese and wine and bread. Sandwiches. Ants. Bees. It's really a wonderful day. I think it was the spring. It wasn't quite summer yet. Well, it doesn't matter. It was just a beautiful day. Sometime during the day, we took a walk, and we came across an old carousel. It was kind of in disrepair and wasn't running. There wasn't anybody there. We found a man who ran the carousel, and Draper gave him a few dollars, and he ran it just for us. Guess it was just one of those unforgettable days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's funny. It sounds a little like the story Kirk told me.
What did he say?
Nothing very much. Just that he remembered a carousel. There was a picnic. And a woman.
What? Oh, look what I've done. I didn't mean it. I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play?
Now, what were you saying about the carousel?
Oh, nothing. It's just a silly memory that means something to you because you're in love, you know.
I understand.
Draper and I hadn't known each other too long when he asked me out. We drove into the country on a picnic. We filled up a basket full of food. Cheese and wine and bread. Sandwiches. Ants. Bees. It's really a wonderful day. I think it was the spring. It wasn't quite summer yet. Well, it doesn't matter. It was just a beautiful day. Sometime during the day, we took a walk, and we came across an old carousel. It was kind of in disrepair and wasn't running. There wasn't anybody there. We found a man who ran the carousel, and Draper gave him a few dollars, and he ran it just for us. Guess it was just one of those unforgettable days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's funny. It sounds a little like the story Kirk told me.
What did he say?
Nothing very much. Just that he remembered a carousel. There was a picnic. And a woman.
What? Oh, look what I've done. I didn't mean it. I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Molly, it's all right. Really.
Molly.
Don't cut yourself.
Oh, thank heaven there wasn't a teapot on here. That really would have made a mess. I'm so ashamed, Mrs. Scott. I'm really so ashamed. And look at your beautiful china.
Molly, there's plenty of this in the kitchen. We'll never miss it.
Well, I'll go and I'll clean this all up, and then I'll get you some tea. That is, if you still want some tea.
Well, I don't think I can stay too much longer.
Oh, well then, Emily, maybe you better not have any tea at all.
really sure about this? Is the same girl that's been following you all over Monticello?
I'm positive about it, Miles. I've seen that face so often I'd recognize it in the dark.
Well, lighting's pretty deceptive in here.
I wish I could see her again.
Well, don't get your hopes up. The service is so terrible in here. She's a waitress. We may never catch another glimpse of her.
Well, I can ask Elliot about her, though.
Why? What makes you think he'll know she's such a big fan of yours?
I'm not sure she is a fan of mine. If she were a fan of mine, she would have asked me for an autograph or something by now.
Maybe she's just shy.
Shy? She doesn't strike me as a shy type. Did you get a look at her?
Yeah, I saw her for a minute. She's very pretty, very young.
Yeah, she is.
Well, don't worry about it. Just relax. She'll be back sooner or later, and then we'll give her the 3rd degree. Maybe we'll also be able to give her an order.
Yeah, we really should tell Elliot about this poor service.
Listen, you'd better start thinking up some new excuses because the old ones are wearing a little thin. Ah, yes, of course. I was wondering when that was coming. The baby. You know that baby's worth more to you than all Mama's millions. Gives you a perfect alibi to stay at home and do exactly what you feel like doing. But let me tell you something. I don't care how late it is. I want you over here tonight. Is that understood? Good night. What is it?
Could I speak to you for a minute, Mr. Dorn?
About what?
Well, I wanted to ask
Just
you whether
shut
or
that
not...
door. I can't hear a thing you're saying with that damn music blasting in here. That's better. Boy.
What I wanted to ask you was if it would be all right if I left the club for about an hour.
What for?
Well, it's really important, Mr. Dorn. You see, I'm expecting a phone call from my parents this evening, and, well, all the way from Rome.
That's interesting. An Italian named Kelly McGrath.
Well, no, actually, I was born in this country, and so was my parents. You see, my dad is an architect, and he works for a construction company.
Now,
He's doing
Kelly,
some work.
I'm really not interested in the history of your family.
Well, also, since you know my aunt and uncle...
Your aunt and uncle are not exactly my #1 fans of Monticello. There's no doubt they've already informed you. Oh, all right, go ahead.
Great. Listen, I left the disco system on automatic and really programmed it well. So with any luck, it won't break down till I get back.
Better not. I'm no good at electronics. I said all right, didn't I?
Oh, yes, sir, thank you. Mr. Dorn, could I ask you one more question?
Yes.
Well, I know you don't like my puppets very much.
I don't like kiddie shows, Mr. McGrath.
Well, puppets aren't just for kids. I mean, what I was thinking of is that, well, since the Unicorn opens so late for dancing, and since there are so many people that don't have anything to do in the early evening...
Kelly, how many times do I have to tell you that this is a disco? People come here and they put on their own floor show.
Yeah, but what I was thinking of is that if we can get them in earlier with some sort of special attraction, then maybe they'd stick around for the dancing later.
You know, you're a very persistent young man, Kelly. Now, I suppose I should admire that quality, but in your case, I just loathe it. The answer is no.
Yes, sir. Oh, and thanks for letting me off for an hour.
Okay.
Well, hi, Jody.
Hi, what happened to you? Boss call you in on the carpet?
No, I went in on my own free will and got what I wanted, too.
Hey, good for you. What did you get?
Off. Well, I'm going home for an hour. See, I'm expecting a really important overseas phone call.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see, my agent in Rome is calling me to see if I can arrange a tour of the continents with my puppets, you know, and unfortunately, I'm just going to have to turn them down.
Naturally. You're so busy here.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, that's showbiz, kid.
Tough break.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you later, okay?
Okay, sure.
Miss, could you take our order, please?
Sure. Okay, what can I do?
You do know me.
Listen, I have an order in the kitchen.
Wait a minute, wait a minute!
That phone
phone call from Rome should be coming in pretty soon now.
Mm-hmm.
Hope Kelly gets back here in time.
Yes, so do I. I'm sure they're very anxious to talk to him.
And I think you're very anxious to talk to them. To find out what you can learn about that young man and whatever it is that's making him want to stay away from home.
Yes, you're right. Honey, I'd like to be able to talk to them in private, okay?
Oh, I think we can arrange that.
I have a feeling that Kelly's problems aren't foremost on your mind.
No, I'm afraid they're not, Nancy.
It's about Draper, isn't it?
Yes. That's another mystery that has to be solved. We have to find out why the wrong man was buried as Draper Scott. And whether there's the slightest chance of finding him alive.
I had no idea it was getting so late. I really hope I haven't kept you up.
Please, I've enjoyed the company. You sure you're going to be all right driving home at this hour?
Oh, yeah, sure, I'll be fine. I really should have left a long time ago. Kirk's going to be worried about me.
Well, look, why don't you just give him a call and tell him you're on your way home?
Oh, could I? Do you mind if I use the
Please,
phone?
be my guest.
Terrific.
Let's go take these inside.
Okay.
Hello.
Kirk, hi, it's Emily.
Emily, where the heck are you?
Oh, I'm still at April's place. I am really sorry I'm so late. I've got to get myself a decent watch. It's ridiculous. I never know what time it is.
Lou, don't worry about it. At least now I know what to buy you for your next birthday.
Well, how are you? Did you get a chance to watch the ball game?
Yeah, I watched the game. Don't ask me who won or who lost. Oh, with amnesia, you forget for whom you're rooting.
I always root for the guys in the white uniforms.
Yeah, because they're the good guys.
That's right. Anyway, I wanted to tell you that I should be home in about half hour, and I'm really on my way out the door. Or I should say the elevator.
Elevator.
Yeah, it's really funny. April's apartment doesn't have a door. It opens right out into an elevator. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it certainly is. Did you talk to April about her brother and the job interview?
Yes. Dr. Kavanaugh said he wants to see me tomorrow, and that if he likes me, I can have the job immediately.
Well, that's good. Look, maybe you better come home now. Go to bed early so you have plenty of rest.
Yeah, you better get to bed, too. I'm sure you worked hard all day.
No, that's all right. I'll wait up for you.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that. All right, honey, I'll see you in a little while. Bye-bye.
I'll just go out and
All right, Molly, I want to look in on it. Emily, I hate to leave you like this, but you have the keys for the basement, right?
Yes,
and
thank
give
you.
me a call after you see Miles tomorrow.
I will.
Good luck.
Bye. Molly, what did you mean when you called last night and said I shouldn't take that job with Dr. Kavanaugh?
I told you what I meant, Miss Emily. That I don't think you're really qualified. He just simply can't be the same kind of doctor your father was.
My father was a very good doctor, and you know that.
I didn't mean that. No, I mean that he's probably much busier and has a great many more patients than Dr. Galt had.
I don't think that there's anyone busier than a country practitioner. And the only reason my father's practice slowed down was because of his health. Are you sure that's all you meant?
Yes, that's all.
And what you said about April and her brother not being our kind of people, you do see that's not true now, don't you?
Yes, I see. I'm sorry, Miss Emily. I guess I'm just a little nervous. You know, a new job in a big city. I suppose I'm just reflecting my fears on you.
Yeah, I guess you are. Molly, there is really nothing to be afraid of. Believe me, nothing at all.
Mom, please stop worrying. I'm not going to do something stupid like that. In fact, I've already informed Aunt Nancy and Uncle Mike that they're stuck with me until I can find a place that I can afford on my own. Yeah. No, I haven't had a chance to get that looked at yet. Well, actually, it hasn't been bothering me since I got here. All right, I'll make an appointment to see a dentist tomorrow morning. Okay. Yeah, I've gained at least 5 pounds since I've been here. Oh, okay. Yeah, put them on. Hi, Dad. How you doing? Oh, everything's fine. Well, no, actually, it's not taking too much out of me. The job is taking too little out of me. I don't really get a chance to show him what I can do. But I'm not discouraged. Oh, no, you don't have to do that. No, it's fine. Well, okay, a couple $100 wouldn't hurt, I guess. Well, yeah, she's right here. Aunt Nancy, Dad wants to say hi to you.
Oh, I'll take it in the kitchen, all right, dear?
Sure. She's going to pick up in the kitchen, okay? Yeah, well, listen, how's the construction going? Oh, yeah, well, you were afraid that might happen, but don't worry about it. It'll get done eventually. Yeah. Oh, Aunt Nancy's on the line. Okay, listen, kiss Mom for me and tell her please not to worry about me. I'm fine. Okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.
Well, even though I couldn't hear the other end of the conversation, it sounds as if your parents have the usual concerns about their wandering boy.
Yeah, well, Mom's really funny. She's concerned about me imposing on you, and yet she's concerned about me living all by myself, too.
I see.
But she's also concerned about my tooth, and she's concerned about whether I'm eating enough.
In other words, she loves you.
Yeah. And Dad's concerned whether I have enough money, and of course I don't. Who does?
But your job at the Unicorn pays you a decent wage, doesn't it?
Well, it's enough to get by, especially since you and Aunt Nancy are letting me stay here without paying. But I want to change all that, Uncle Mike. And I intend to change it. I've got to be independent.
Well, Kelly, being independent doesn't always mean having a place of your own or even an income of your own. I know some very dependent people who have both.
Yeah, but you see, I got to get my puppets working for me. It means everything for me to be able to do what I like for a living.
Oh, sure. But you realize not many people have that privilege.
I got to. Oh, listen, I worked up a new routine with one of the puppets, and would it be okay if I showed it to you right now?
It's kind of late, isn't it?
Well, I'd really respect your opinion on it. It'll only take me a second to set it up. I'll go get the puppets, okay?
Okay.
Where is he?
He wants to show us a new act with his puppets. What did Lee have to say?
Well, not very much, but what he did say was quite a bit.
What do you mean?
Kelly did have trouble in Rome. Apparently it was very, very serious.
Hi, Aunt Nancy. Hi, Uncle Mike.
I don't know why I ever let you talk me into this.
Oh, yes, you do. You love it. You love it.
No,
you just don't.
I love you. That's why I'm not afraid to admit that.
Hey. No. Disco is not a contact sport.
Oh, it's a new step.
How gratifying to see that an esteemed gentleman of medicine like yourself can also get down and boogie.
Elliot, there's something I really wanted to ask you. It's about that waitress of yours, the one with the long dark hair, the young one.
Yeah, what about her?
Well, I wanted to know what you know about her.
Nothing much. She came in off the street. Very fortunately for me, I might add, because I just lost a waitress. I hired her on the spot.
You don't do much checking up on your employees, do you?
Well, it's not like I was hiring a bookkeeper or a manager, Doctor. I was hiring a lovely nymph to wait on tables. How much does one really have to know?
Well, we would like to know a little bit more about her.
Why?
Well, for one thing, because she's been following my wife around. She's even been watching our house.
Oh, surely you're mistaken.
No, it's true. Nicole recognized her as soon as we came in. Obviously, the girl recognized Nicole.
Well, many people recognize the talented and beautiful anchor lady of WMON.
What did you say her name was, Elliot?
Travis. Jody Travis.
Travis?
Well, that's not an unusual name, is it?
No, it's not an unusual name. Certainly not in my family.
Oh?
Travis is my maiden name.
I think things are going pretty well for Molly. Although she seems so over-anxious.
Well, you have to admit, coming to the city like this, it's all very strange for her.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure that's why she's nervous about everything. I think she's afraid for me.
Afraid? Afraid of what?
Afraid of my taking that job with Dr. Kavanaugh. She thinks I won't be able to handle it, and I'll be terribly disappointed.
Point is, what do you think?
Oh, I know I can handle it. Just like you're handling your job. I think that we give each other strength. And that as long as we have each other, we'll be strong. Listen to me. I don't even know if I'll have the job. I don't know if Dr. Kavanaugh will like me.
Hey, who wouldn't like you?
I'm sorry. I don't care how long it takes. We are going to find out what's going on, even if we have to close this place up.
Who would have thought it? Dr. Kavanaugh just going the night away, huh?
Well, I didn't say anything about any more dancing.
I just hope Ellie can get that girl to come over here.
Jody, I'd like you to meet Dr. and Mrs. Kavanaugh.
I'm sorry I didn't take your order before. I was very busy.
We don't have an order for you. We have a question.
Jody, why don't you sit down and have a little chat with them? Everything will be quite all right. I kept my promise.
Jody, you have been following me around. You're the one, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, can you tell me why?
I don't know. I just wanted to find out more about you.
What for?
Because, I don't know. I wanted to.
Was it because my wife is a newscaster on TV?
No, it's not because of that.
Well, why then?
Because you're my sister.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play?
It's an absolutely beautiful day today. There isn't one cloud in the sky.
Too nice to be cooped up in an apartment, even if it is a penthouse.
I get the idea you are now about to ask me for the rest of the day off. You're going to slip inside, change into a bikini, and head out to the beach.
Well, that's not exactly what I had in mind, but it's such a lovely day. I'd like to take Julia for a stroll before the sun gets too strong.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love it.
I hope you'll join us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I am expecting company.
Oh, then shall I fix a tray?
Oh, no, thank you. If you just take care of Julia, I would prefer to have my company alone.
Is everything all right?
Yes, of course. It's just that, I could make a very long list of ways I'd prefer to spend the morning.
Because you don't seem too enthusiastic about your visitor.
Well, Molly, let me say this. The person who's coming over here is a bit on the unpredictable side. And when she bursts into a room, the only thing you can expect is the unexpected.
Or maybe you'll be lucky and she won't bother to put in an appearance.
Oh, I can only hope. I'll get there.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, you haven't given up on me, have you?
Hello, Raven.
Look, I finally just got a babysitter. I'm gonna be a little bit late, but I'll be there, okay?
Raven, you would have been more than welcome to bring Jamie over here.
No. The way things are going with Logan and I half expect him to jump out of a bush and try to take Jamie away.
That's absurd. He'd never do any such thing.
I don't know.
Listen, what is all this about anyway? Last night when you called me, you told me it was the most important thing in my whole life, and I know you exaggerate.
I am not exaggerating.
You are gonna faint when you find out what I have to tell you. And also, it's gonna prove what I've been saying about Logan.
What's that supposed to mean?
Look, I don't want to talk about it on the phone. I'm gonna be right over there. But wait till you find out what Logan has been doing behind your back.
I know.
I'm impressed. Come in, Cliff.
I got great news for you. You better have Jamie's room ready for occupancy in Labor Day at the latest.
You got a court date for the custody suit.
I went over to Judge Lewis's offices and I pulled some strings, and we'll be up any day now.
Oh, well, now for the bad news. You're going to have to do me a favor. You're going to have to stick your head back in Judge Lewis's chambers on your way out and make sure that we do not get on the docket for at least 10 days to 2 weeks.
Are you kidding? I thought you were raring to go.
Well, as anxious as I am to get this mess settled, I've made some vacation plans now, and I just can't change them.
A vacation? That's really great, boss. Well, not that you don't deserve it. I mean, you haven't put through the ringer these past few months. I guess you could go into court then, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but...
Cliff, I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to go up to Graham County, and I'm going to see if I can find out what happened to Draper.
What do you want to do that for? I mean, that doesn't sound like much of a vacation.
Just got to get to the bottom of all this, that's all.
You know what's at the bottom of all this. He was swept away with the current and probably drowned.
That's one possible explanation. There might be others.
I just wish this whole rumor about Draper Scott being alive never started.
Well, if you hadn't barged into Mike's office without knocking, you'd have been spared the burden of all this speculation.
I don't want April to find out about this. I would feel really badly if she did.
Well, fortunately, very few of us know anything about it, and if we keep our mouths shut, the beans will not be spilled.
I don't know. I mean, this is pretty big stuff, you know, and, well, one slip of the tongue by anyone. I mean, anybody could do that.
Just a second. Yes, Maggie. I'll take that. I'll only
Boss,
be a minute. Just a minute. Derek, what can I do for you?
Logan, look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news so early in the morning, but I thought you'd want to know this.
Well, what's happened?
It seems the cat is out of the bag. I got a call from Raven late last night. She said she heard a rumor going around that Draper Scott was still alive.
Terrific. Raven knows.
Now, she has her facts about the autopsy pretty straight. She certainly knows the body was misidentified.
What'd you tell her?
I told her that what she heard was grossly exaggerated, that it was simply a case of misidentification, and that we'd have it straightened out shortly.
Certainly like to get my hands on the person with the loose lips. I'd be happy to fatten him for him.
Look, boss, I got something to tell you.
Just a minute, Derek. What is it?
Well, you know, you've been under a lot of pressure lately, and well, so have I, and so I think I better split. So have a good time up in Graham County, okay?
Derek, did Raven say who told her all this?
She wouldn't tell me who she got this from.
Well, did April's name come up in your little chat?
Yeah, it did. She brought it up, not me. But I warned her. I warned her not to go spreading this rumor around.
I hope she takes your advice.
You know, Logan, she has picked up on the way you're trying to protect April.
Oh, great.
She thinks your motives for keeping April in the dark are personal ones.
Derek, I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off, but I gotta go. Thanks for calling.
Stay cool. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Come in.
Morning, Chief. Got a minute?
Morning, yeah. How's it going?
Oh, I got everything squared away with Captain Anderson. And you don't have to worry about any flack. I told the boys I was going to take a little vacation and go visit a sick relative.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Chief, you still think that this is a good idea, don't you? My going off with Logan?
Sure I do. Logan's a lawyer, not a detective. He's going to need somebody up there with your kind of background.
Well, I'm happy to do whatever I can to help.
Well, I'm sure he'll appreciate whatever you can do for him.
Well, I'll give it my best shot.
That sure would be nice to put a cover on this case for once and for all.
Yeah, especially for April. Oh, she seems like she's getting her life back together again.
Yeah? I wonder how long that's going to last.
Pardon me?
If noontime rolls around and April Scott doesn't know exactly what we're doing, you can consider that a small miracle.
Well, we have gone out of our way to keep this whole thing quiet, Chief. Why do you say something like that?
Just an educated guess.
Well, I sure hope it doesn't happen. I mean, the last thing April needs right now is false hope.
Yeah, I sure hope she doesn't find out.
Hey, kid, how's it going?
Ah, Jock, it's going great, thanks. I'm getting right in the swing of things here.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Just take it slow and steady, and if you need some help, you call on old Jock.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is for you. You take it black, right?
Yeah, I do. Hey, thanks again.
It's okay. Hey, relax. I know the coffee around here tastes like mud, but hot mud is better than cold mud, so drink up. Come on.
Mr. Smith said he wanted this stuff by noon, so I gotta work.
He'll get it. Look, it's nice to have someone around here who's conscientious for a change. Hey, take a break. It's in your contract. Do it.
All right. You're right. I could use a break.
Most of the guys go up on the roof and they work on their tans. Me, I like to talk, especially to the new guys. All the old guys around here have heard all my tired old stories about the greatest shortstop never to make it in the major leagues. Yeah, but with you here, I got 2 new ears to bend.
No, I like listening to your stories.
How about telling me yours?
Not too much to tell.
But you're not used to this kind of work, are you?
How do you know that?
Your hands. When you've been around here long enough, your hands will get like leather from the calluses. You see that? You got a long way to catch up with old Jock.
You're pretty observant.
So what other lines you been in?
I don't really know.
Hey, listen, you don't want to talk, it's okay.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, it's honest. I don't really remember.
Hey, nobody's memory is that bad.
Hey, look, could I talk to you? I mean, just talk to you and me, just no further than us?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've been sick. It just made my memory not worth very much.
Gee, that's tough, kid. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I'm okay now. I mean, everything's just perfect, except, well, I blocked out a big chunk of my past.
Well, if you find out what you got, why don't you tell me about it and how to catch it? Because there's a lot of things rumbling around in my head I'd like to forget. Like my first wife, for instance.
Yeah, all right, but it's not as much fun as you might think. Hey, thanks for the coffee. Yeah. What's the problem? Something wrong?
No, nothing. You know, you remind me of somebody. I mean, you know, you look like someone, huh?
I do. Any idea of whom?
No, There's a picture in a paper, I think.
Any idea at all who it could be?
Nah, it's probably a ball player. You know me, I buy the paper, I read the headlines, and I go right to the sports section. Well, listen, don't let it give you a headache. I'll think about it. I'll see you, kid.
Ball player?
My father was one of those old-fashioned country doctors. You know, the kind that goes out in the middle of the night because Mrs. Simpson's little boy has a bellyache.
You know, there are some big city doctors left who are still willing to make house calls if the situation warrants it.
Well, as much as he loved practicing medicine, he was absolutely hopeless when it came to the business end of it. So my mother handled that for him. And then when she died, I took over.
What would the job entail?
Well, I kept his appointment book straight. That meant I had to check and see what each patient was there to see the doctor about. And I had to figure out how much time each appointment would take. That way we didn't have a waiting room full of impatient people.
Well, I like to give my patients enough time so they don't feel rushed, and I don't feel rushed.
I also took all the medical histories, and, well, I kept the files complete and up to date. I sent out reminders to all the patients when their annual checkups were due, and when they were due for callbacks. Oh, yes, I guess the most time-consuming job I had was filling out those medical insurance forms.
Oh. Those forms are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, mine too. That's why I finally sat down one day and I really studied them. Now I can get them out in practically no time.
Well, you see, now I am impressed.
Dr. Kavanaugh, I do have to be honest with you, though. I understand that the woman you had here previously was a registered nurse. And except for a few first aid courses, I have no medical training.
Oh, well, no, that's all right. You don't understand. You see, I've pared my practice down so that I'm able to serve now as Monticello's chief medical examiner. So what I really need here is some kind of a super competent receptionist secretary.
I see.
It seems to me you fit the bill. So if you're willing to give it a try, so am I.
Oh, Dr. Kavanaugh, you've just made me so happy. What can I do to thank you?
Oh, taking care of my office as well as you seem to have taken care of your father's is all the thanks I'll require.
This move has turned out to be so right for both me and my husband.
You want some coffee?
Oh, no, thank you.
By the way, how's your husband adjusting to life in the big city?
Well, Monticello is still a bit imposing to him, but he managed to find a job in Oakdale. Just a 10-minute bus ride from the house.
Oh, really? What's he doing?
He's working in a local factory. It's just an entry-level job, but he may be heading up the parts department soon. And I know he wants to learn everything there is about the business because he wants to work right up all the way to the top.
You got a lot of confidence in him, don't you?
Oh, he's a wonderful man. But then I am prejudiced.
Well, I know my sister's anxious to meet him.
I do hope that April doesn't think that he's avoiding her because that really isn't the case.
No, I'm sure she knows you're very busy settling in.
Well, it's not just that. You see, Kirk was ill not too long ago, and he just hasn't been himself since then. He's very shy around strangers.
What was wrong with him?
Oh, well, I'm sure a medical man like you would settle for nothing less than a clinical explanation. I just can't give you one.
You don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
I'm just happy that Kirk is getting better. He's getting better every day.
Why'd you bring him around the office?
Oh, no, I don't think there's anything you could do for him.
No, I'm not talking about medically, just socially. I'd like to meet the husband of my new assistant.
Fine. It'll have to be when Kirk is feeling up to it, but the way things have been going lately, it shouldn't be too long at all.
Good. All right, well, Kirk or no Kirk, I will see you Monday morning, all right?
Great. 9 o'clock sharp?
8:30, actually.
Fine. Thank you again, Dr. Kavanaugh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Before I forget.
Yes, Helen. Oh, great. Sure, I'll talk to him. Put him on. Miles, I'm glad you called. I was trying to get you earlier today.
Oh, really? What's up?
Wilkins' lawyer. He's screaming bloody murder because we're still holding his client without actually charging him.
Yes, look, I'm sorry. I'll get that report on your desk right after lunch.
That'd be a big favor.
Listen, Derek, I was really calling to ask you for a favor.
Oh, well, see? Now I owe you one. What can I do?
Well, I need some information.
Shoot.
I wonder if you could use your resources down there to find out something about someone who's new in Monticello.
Oh? Who's that?
Well, it's a young girl whose name is Jody Travis. She was following my wife around for a few days and now claims that she's my wife's half-sister.
I didn't know Nicole had a sister.
No, until last night. Nicole didn't either.
Well, did she give any reason for turning up now after all this time?
No, we don't have any idea what her motives are.
Well, I can't exactly assign a detail to this or give it any kind of priority, but I'll see what I can do about having some inquiries made. Jody Travis, huh?
Yeah, she says her mother's name is Billy Lorraine, and the last place they lived was Chicago. She's very pretty. She's about 18, or says she is, and she's got brown eyes, long brown hair.
All right. Well, look, I don't want to raise your hopes, because I won't be able to find out really too much unless it turns out she has a police record.
Are you sure there's no one here? Because believe me, this is for your ears only.
Raven, Molly is out with Julia. If you'd like to check the closets, you're more than welcome. But what is this big mystery?
All right, I'll tell you, but first I want to ask you a question, and I would like you to be very honest with me.
Raven, this is beginning to sound like another one of your ridiculous games. Could you please get to the point?
Is Logan in love with you?
What?
Ever since the funeral, you two have been inseparable.
We helped each other through a very rough time.
And one thing led to another.
My personal life is absolutely none of your business. I don't even consider it a topic for discussion.
You don't have to be secretive. I've seen the way he looks at you. He used to look at me that way.
If you are so interested in Logan's business, why don't you just ask Logan?
Look, don't get upset. I mean, you can have him if you want. I just want to know if the feeling's mutual.
If you have something to say to me, say it, Raven. I have absolutely nothing to say to you.
Has he, kissed you yet?
You're incredible. You have no idea when to quit.
Well, a kiss is a dead giveaway. I mean, you always know the way a person feels about you, and you...
If this is why you're here, I have really had enough.
All right, April, don't throw me out yet, because I do have something very important to tell you.
Hello.
The most important thing in your
Yes.
life. And after I tell you this, no matter what you think of Logan, you're going to change your opinion. You won't think he's so much your friend.
I think you can tell him yourself.
What?
As a matter of fact, you can tell both of us.
April, I don't know what Raven has been telling you, but whatever it is, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it if I were you.
Logan, she's actually told me nothing, although she keeps promising something very momentous.
What are you doing here? Did you come here to have breakfast?
No, actually, I just had this feeling that you might be here, and I thought we should have a little talk. Could we have a cup?
I have nothing to say to you. I came here to see April.
Just 1 or 2 minutes by ourselves.
Don't
I'm
let
sure
him boss you around in your own house.
Raven, I prefer to leave.
We won't be long. I promise.
What do you want?
I want to have a little talk with you, and I
No.
want to be private. Come on out on the terrace, will you? This is just between us. I prefer to keep it that way.
Why don't you want April out here? You're going to throw me over the ledge. You'll never get away with it, darling.
You're going to tell her what you learned about Draper?
I think it's her right. He's her husband.
That would be just about the cruelest thing that you can do to give her that kind of hope. After all, the odds are 100 to 1 against his still being alive.
Well, there might be a miracle. You never know, do you?
She's just beginning to learn that she can have a normal and happy life without him. It's giving her strength. Don't take that away from her.
You mean don't take her away from you, don't you?
Oh, come on.
If she finds out that Draper is still alive, that sort of knocks you right out of the ballgame, doesn't it?
Do you know he's still alive? Do you know that for certain? Because I don't. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, don't I? What will April think when she finds out that this little conspiracy of silence was started by you for your own selfish motives?
That little innuendo doesn't even deserve a reply.
Because it's true, and you are a lousy liar.
Raven, if you have an ounce of decency in you... No, let me put that another way. I beg you. Look at me, I beg you. For April's sake, don't tell her.
This means a lot to you, doesn't it?
It means a lot to April and to Julia.
I bet. All right, I tell you what. I won't say a word.
Well, thank you.
I do want a little something in return.
That figures. All right, what is it?
When you go back to the office, I want you to call Mike Carr, and I want you to tell him to drop the custody suit.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
I want you to promise me right now that we will have an out-of-court settlement.
Consisting of what?
I know how much you love Jamie, Logan, and I respect that. I really do. I'll be very generous with visitation rights. You can take him whenever you want. You can have him all the time if you want.
Well, what do you get out of all this?
I just want it on the record. I am the controlling parent.
That's all. You just want the upper hand.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good deal. If you agree, you get Jamie, and I don't tell April.
Hi.
Hey, Doc.
I was talking to Sammy over in repairs. The forklift will be ready in a couple of days, and then we can take those crates off the loading platform and get it over into stock.
Oh, wait a second. I told you, Jock, I can't drive the forklift.
Ah, come on, relax. I'll teach you everything I know. I can lift a carton of eggs with those babies and never break one of them. Speaking of eggs, I got egg salad on rye and tuna fish on white. Want to trade?
No.
Huh?
Look, I was going to ask a favor. If it's all the same to you and if it's all right with you, I'd like to go home for lunch.
It's okay with me as long as you come back in an hour.
Oh, yeah, no problem. The Clearfield bus, it'll drop me off right in front of the place, and, you know, no problem. It's not me, it's my wife. Well, she got all excited. She got a new job, and she wanted me to come home so she could talk to me about it.
Oh, yeah? Your wife works?
Yeah.
What's she do?
She's a receptionist secretary for a doctor.
Oh, that's great. Sounds smart. I bet she's pretty, too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it figures. Good-looking guy like you. I don't know why I wasn't born handsome instead of rich.
Yeah.
I ain't complaining, though. Listen, my wife is beautiful, you know. The only trouble is she won't go out to work. She won't go out of the house for any reason. You think it has something to do with the fact that we got 4 kids?
Yeah, you got a big family.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. There's her brother, Jerry, and then my mother-in-law comes by 4 times a year, and she camps out in the living room there. So I ain't complaining. Yeah, it's family life, you know. Oh, hey, speaking of my brother-in-law, have you ever been out to the Oakdale Playland Park?
No.
Well, he works there. You know, it's great. They got lots of rides and stuff. He gave me some tickets. My wife, she hates roller coasters and stuff like that. So here, why don't you take them?
Hey,
Go
well,
ahead.
Chuck, I don't
Hey, take them. Go on. Let me give you some advice, kid. Have your fun now, before the family life sets in.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I appreciate it. It'd be nice to have a good time. Look, I've really got to go. I promise. I'll be back in an hour. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, here we are. I hope this is where you like it.
Oh, looks terrific. I mean, sorry to put you all this bother, but it sure looks
No
good.
bother at all.
Now, Kurt should be home any minute.
Good.
Would you like some milk?
Yes, please.
To tell you the truth, I don't even know what a district attorney does.
Oh, that's a toughie. Let's see. No, I defend a little truth, guard a few fundamental liberties, that sort of
Leap
thing.
tall buildings in a single bound.
When I'm campaigning, the voters like that. No, actually, I'm the chief prosecuting officer of the city of Monticello. It means it's my job to bring the bad guys into court.
Oh, the bad guys, I see. And you're a good friend of April?
Well, I hope so. I was a close friend of her husband, even though he was one of the good guys that I brought into court.
You did that?
Yes, I did. It's a long story and not one I'm particularly proud of, so what I mean is that... Well, actually, I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter. Draper was arrested. The evidence against him was very strong. I took that evidence to a grand jury, and they voted to indict him.
But he was innocent, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
It's one of those things that happens from time to time, even though the law takes great pains to prevent it. Sometimes your facts get distorted and...
It must have been very difficult for you.
Yes, it was.
No, I heard what happened to him about his being killed at the train wreck at Grand Falls. It was a matter of fact, Grand Falls is just a few miles from where I used to live.
Really?
In Evansville. Lived there all my life.
That's very interesting. I'm on my way up there this afternoon.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm involved in an investigation. It's concerning the train wreck, as a matter of fact.
Oh, does that mean there's going to be some prosecution involved?
No, not really. This is just background information on another case. It's semi-official investigation, you might call it, though I am taking a police officer with me. In fact, it's one police officer you know. Deborah Saxon, Detective Saxon.
Oh, I probably met her at April's.
No other place?
Well, maybe once before. I don't really remember.
Police headquarters, perhaps?
So that's why you're here. You heard that I went to the police and asked about...
About your friend, who vanished all those years ago.
Look, what I asked Detective Saxon was genuine. I really didn't know what had happened to Kirk in the past 10 years. I didn't know if he had a police record. I wasn't lying to her.
But you didn't tell her that you were Mrs. Michaels, did you?
How could I? What if it turned out that he was wanted? Then she would have forced me to tell her where he was.
The police in this town don't force you to do anything. Part of my job is making sure that they don't.
Why did you come here? Was it just to make trouble for us?
No, it wasn't. I wanted to meet you. I wanted to meet your husband. I felt that somebody who cared for April should meet both of you.
You mean you're doing this just for April?
Mrs. Michaels, I did tell you the truth. When I told you I was here as a friend of April Scott's, that's exactly what I meant. Nothing more and nothing less.
Please. Just try to understand. I was only trying to protect my husband. You see, he was ill a little while ago, and he lost part of his memory. I was just trying to help him regain it, that's all. And Kirk is not a criminal. He is a good, hard-working man, and he has a job now.
I hope I didn't give you the impression
Look,
that...
we are just trying to make a good living. A good, quiet life, that's all. Wait until you meet Kirk. I know you'll see that I'm telling you the truth. You just wait until you meet him.
That's me, too. Recognize me? When I was in the Claremont Hospital. Boy, I really looked awful then. Kind of skinny and pale. And again, I was very sick. And that is my brother Miles.
Oh, yeah, the doctor that Miss Emily's going to work for.
Mm-hmm. Remember you met him the other night?
Yeah.
Now, he's handsome, isn't he? Every female patient in the hospital thought so. In fact, every female in the hospital. The nurses, the visitors, everybody, you know. That's my husband.
Oh, yes, of course.
He was handsome. It wasn't just his looks, not just his features. Something else, I don't know. I don't know if I can put it into words. Something about his eyes, I think. A gentleness that kind of got the feeling that all his goodness was just shining through.
Yeah, I can see that. I know it's none of my business, but how did you meet your husband?
In the hospital, Claremont Hospital, yes. I was a patient, and he was visiting Nicole, who was not my sister-in-law at the time, but she was also a patient. It's a long story. Anyway, I met Draper in the solarium at the hospital. I'll never forget. It was really very funny. He was sitting there reading a magazine about expectant mothers.
Do I remember that your marriage didn't last very long?
Yeah, it didn't. Less than 2 years. And I'll tell you, it was a very long and rocky road from the Claremont Hospital down the wedding aisle. Actually, it was rocky afterwards, too. But we were very happy. I don't think there was ever a couple who was happier.
Life can be very unfair sometimes, can't it?
Life can be downright mean. Recognize this lady? That's Margot Huntington, my mother.
Oh, yeah, I recognize her now.
Yeah.
I remember the newspaper articles about her death.
I don't know how anyone could have thought Draper was responsible for that, but obviously they did. A jury did. That's what put him on that train to Grand Falls. Hello.
Hi, April. It's Deborah.
Oh, hi, Deborah. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Listen, I was wondering if you're available in the next hour or so. I'd like to come up and see you.
Well, I'd love it if you would.
Oh, good, good. I see I'm leaving town in a couple of days, and I would like to come by and talk to you if I could.
Anything important?
Yeah, it's something you should know about. Those people that you sold your house to. I'll talk to you about it later when I see you, okay?
Oh, okay, bye.
You know, this is really quite an occasion for me. The last man that bought me lunch was a police officer who bought me a hamburger at a station house.
Police officer?
Don't worry, I wasn't being arrested for murder. In fact, I was picked up for being a little too far from home. I was only 11 years old.
Were you running away?
Of course, I know I have to sing a little song for my supper. But you do want to ask me some questions, don't
Look, don't make this sound like an interrogation. I just wanted to talk with you for a little while, get to know you a little bit better.
you? Does your wife know you're doing this?
Frankly, no, I just did it on impulse, so I certainly plan to tell her about it.
She won't be jealous. No, why should she be? A beautiful woman like that. She doesn't have to worry about competition. So, go ahead, continue.
All right, if you're going to make this into a question and answer session, all right, let's see. I will start out by asking, why did you wait until now before coming to Monticello?
I don't know. I suppose I never saw a reason to come here. I certainly didn't think I'd be welcomed with open arms, even if Nicole is my half-sister.
Why not? I mean, why wouldn't she be interested in you? You could have written her a letter a long time ago, Jody.
Well, that doesn't seem like the right way to meet your sister, does it? By letter?
Obviously, you didn't know what the right way was since you didn't even introduce yourself. We had to force the issue.
Yeah, I was kind of shy about it. I just thought I could walk up to Nicole and say, "Hi there, sis." But then I went down to WMON Studios, and I saw her come out that door, and I just froze up. I didn't know what to say to her, so I just stared at her.
As you began to follow her.
I didn't trail her like a detective. I just found out where she was going to be, and then I went there, too. I just wanted to see what she was like in her own environment before I had the nerve to be part of it.
Oh, so you do want to be a part of Nicole's environment?
I didn't mean it like that. Look, I told you how I feel about this. I have no claims on Nicole. I hardly knew the man we both called Daddy, and she didn't know the woman I called Mama. Yeah, she was real lucky on that account.
I gather you didn't like your mother very much. Is that why you had that hamburger in that police station?
I loved my mother. How can a child not love her mother?
Oh, some manage.
Well, I loved her until I was old enough to know what she was.
And what was that? Never mind. It's not important. Listen, I hope you don't think I'm prying. Maybe you can understand how my curiosity is very natural, can't you?
Sure. I'm a curious person, too. Especially about people who interest me. So, tell me about yourself.
Come on now, I'm paying for this meal, remember?
All right. But the next time I have money, I'll take you out for lunch, and then
All right.
I'll be entitled
All
to
right.
ask the questions.
It's a deal, but this time I'm just trying to find out a little bit about you, all right?
All right. It's really not that complicated. I'm the daughter of a man who never wanted me to be born. That's obvious, isn't it?
How'd your mother feel?
Oh, I'm sure Mama was thrilled when she found out she was pregnant. Maybe she honestly thought the famous Benjamin Travis would divorce his rich wife and marry her instead. No such luck.
But you were born anyway.
Yeah.
And she made the best of it for a while. I don't know why. Maybe she thought that I'd make all the difference in the world to them, that he'd come back to her, that he'd like the new family better than the old.
The old family being Nicole and her mother?
Yeah. But of course that didn't happen either. And then all those other things happened to my father. His arrest. His death.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't know him well enough to care about all of that, did you?
No, I didn't know him. In fact, there's only one thing I did care about. The only thing I still care about.
And what's that?
Well, dancing, of course. Just dancing, nothing else.
Dancing, huh? Well, did your mother at least see to it that you got some lessons?
My mother? My mother was ashamed of her fat, clumsy little girl. Anyway, she was the theatrical star of the family, and nobody stole her spotlight.
That's right. You told me she was an actress. Was she any good? Did she get any parts?
Well, you can see her in some B movies on the Late Late Show. But honestly, I don't think she's had a job in over 10 years.
Well, how'd she support herself? How'd she support you?
She had friends.
Boyfriends?
You're a very smart man, Dr. Kavanaugh.
Oh, look, if I'm so smart, how come I still don't have an answer to my first question?
About why I'm here.
That's right.
I guess. Well, I needed to find a connection with the rest of the world. Besides, for my mother, who lives in Springfield now, this is the only other town I know of where I have one living relative.
So Nicole is your reason for coming here?
Not because I want anything from her. I don't. I have a job, you know.
Yes, I know. At the Unicorn. How'd you get that job, anyway?
Well, I'm staying at the dance studio. And Gavin, the guy you just met, who runs the place, he told me about the opening.
What do you mean you're staying at the dance studio?
Just what I said. I'm staying there. I'll sleep there on the floor.
Well, my lord, that can't be very comfortable.
It has some advantages. It's close to my job. I get to use the exercise bar and the mirrors whenever I like. And it's cheap.
You broke?
I can manage. I'm making money as a waitress. I get one free meal a night, and I have a place to sleep.
Well, I'm going to help you a little bit.
Wait, I don't think you heard me the first time.
Doesn't matter.
But, Dr. Kavanaugh, I didn't ask you for any money.
I know you didn't. That's why I'm giving you some.
April, look, you may not think this is very serious, but I think you should know what's going on. Is it? Please. This friend of yours, Emily, I've met her before at police headquarters.
Well, what was she doing there?
Well, she came of her own free will. She was asking me some questions about somebody named Kirk Michaels.
Her husband?
Yeah, her husband. Only she didn't tell me it was her husband. She said it was a friend of hers, this long-lost friend that she hadn't seen for at least a decade. And she also gave me a fictitious name, April. She told me that her name was Mrs. Mitchell.
Oh?
Now, it's perfectly understandable what she was doing and why. Obviously, she must have thought that her husband was lying to her about his past.
No, Deborah, I'm sure it wasn't that. Emily has explained to me that Kirk, her husband, has a memory problem. He was in an accident and it affected his memory.
Oh, come on, April, this man has a police record.
I know that. Logan told me. He didn't give me any details.
Well, I'm not saying that he's a major criminal or anything, but he has a felony arrest on his record. And he left Monticello 9 years ago, and nobody has heard from him since.
I know, it's confusing, but it's also very sad.
Sad?
Oh, yeah, for Emily. I mean, I can understand now why she's so concerned about Kirk and why she's, why she's almost afraid for me to meet him. But I don't want you to worry about it. Really, I'm not afraid the guy's going to rip me off or anything.
April, look, I don't know what the situation is, but I just wanted you to know. I think it's important. Logan does, too. That's why he's going out to Oakdale to see if he can come face to face with this Kirk Michaels. In fact, he's got to do it today because we're leaving Monticello this afternoon.
We? You and Logan are going together?
Yeah, we've got some business to take care of upstate.
Logan told me he was going on vacation.
Well, I guess it's sort of a combination. Yeah. Anyway, I just want you to know that we care about you a great deal. We're not meddling. We just don't want to see you get hurt any more than you already have been. That's why he's going out to Oakdale. See if he can find out about this Kirk Michaels.
You know, it's really sort of a happy coincidence, me meeting somebody from up there. What sort of a town is Evansville?
Oh, it's just a small farming community. Actually, there are only 2 or 3 farms of any size left, though.
Do you live in the town proper, or were you out in the country?
No, we're about 8 miles outside of town. Big old house.
You didn't happen to be home the night of the wreck, by any chance?
Yes, we were. Of course, we didn't hear anything about it until the next day.
Did you ever hear any stories or rumors of any of the survivors wandering away from the wreck and then not being accounted for?
No, we didn't hear any rumors.
You didn't see anybody that night, did you?
See anyone? What do you mean?
A stranger. Like I said, somebody perhaps just wandering. I know all this sounds peculiar, but these are the questions that I'm going to be asking up there in my investigation.
Excuse me.
Oh, certainly, certainly.
Hello?
Miss Emily, is that man there?
Molly?
Is that man there the district attorney?
Yes, he's still here, Molly.
Then for love of heaven, get rid of him. And whatever you do, don't let him meet Kirk.
What?
Don't let him meet your husband. Do you hear me? You'll regret it for the rest of your life if you do.
Molly, I don't understand.
Kirk is in danger, in terrible danger, and so are you.
Molly, he's here right now. He's getting off the bus. He's heading up toward the front door.
Well, then stop him now.